What's up, guys? Ty here, back on the Ty Predict Sports YouTube channel. And today, we're going to go over week 0. Finally, it's game week for college football. I don't know about you, but I'm so excited for it. It's the 24th of this recording, so that means we're 5 days away. And today, I'm going to give you my against the spread picks for week 0's games. So there should only be, I think there's 8 matchups to go through. Obviously, there's probably 3 bigger matchups here. Like, obviously, North Carolina and TCU's probably, I think, the most well-known game. I think NC State, Virginia is probably going to be the overall better game. But still, coming into this game, this one's the noon game in Dublin. North Carolina has a lot of off-the-field issues, and you could say the same for TCU as their best DB just got kicked off the team. But anyways, for North Carolina coming in, they're going to be on basically a new offense. We'll see how that goes. I mean, they have Demon June, the running back there, Jordan Shipp from last year at wide receiver. Again, these guys don't really have that much experience, and I wouldn't say they're necessarily the greatest. Shipp having, I think, 700 yards, though. That's not too bad, but TCU is going to be the team here. I love Jeremy Payne. Jordan Dwyer as well. I like the transfer they got from Harvard, Jaden Craig. As my dog walks in, I am a little bit intrigued on who they're going to put at safety now that one of their best players is out. So we'll see upon that. But they're pretty much led by Gil Jackson and Max Carroll. So I like TCU here, the 7.5 point favorite. I would probably lean towards TCU. That would just be my pick. The over-under is something I wouldn't touch because I do think North Carolina's defense is going to be very, very good. Or at least solid with Belichick at defensive coordinator. He's Bill Belichick's son. So I wouldn't touch the over-under, but I do like TCU minus the 7.5. This is a tough one right here. USC and San Jose State. This is a game I would probably keep the spread out of your mouth. 38.5 is a lot to lay. I do think. In fact, this game opened up, I believe, rather high at 33.5. Not sure why. I don't think San Jose State's a terrible team. They have Navy's old head coach who really was a spread type dude. Is it Niamalialo or something like that? He was a very offensive guy. It was kind of weird how he went to Navy and just ran triple option, but he's a more spread type coach, and that's what they have. I think they run the spread and shed type offense, which is a version. Different coaches have different variations of the spread offense. So if you've been watching USC, though, their defense has been a letdown. But I think Gary Patterson, adding him, is actually going to be a huge factor. But if I had to pick, I would probably go with the over here of 59.5. Knowing USC, though, this one's tough. 38.5 is a lot to lay. I could see a situation in which USC gets up like 35-7 at half and just like cruise, and that could also affect the over/under. But if it's 35-7 at half, that's 42. We would just need 3 TDs, or actually less than 3 TDs. We would just need 18 points. So I'm gonna take the over here. I think this is gonna be like a 45-14 type game. Not 45-14. Probably like 49-17 type game. That would get you there over right there. Barely. It's going to be close. That's a tough one to lay there. Here's the game I'm very intrigued about. NC State comes in as a 5.5 point underdog. I don't understand why. NC State seemingly has more continuity with this roster. Yes, they did just lose their star running back, but they do bring back Duke Scott, who stepped up last year. He was pretty much their second back. He averaged 5.5 yards per carry. I think he's going to be a good running back 1 this year. They were able to get JoJo Trader from the portal. I love that pick. Obviously, CJ Bailey is getting a lot of respect this year. And you look at Virginia, they were a team last year that won a lot of close games. So obviously for me, the easiest pick right here would be taking North Carolina State in the 5.5. I think that's the easiest play of the day. And I put my money where my mouth is. I don't know about you guys, but I have NC State money line. I put 55 on that. That one wins me about 150. So the over-under's another place you could see this. Virginia brings in Bo Pribula. Everyone's high on him, but I'm kind of stunned why this over-under is 5.5. Kind of doesn't make sense to me. I'm sorry, not the over-under. The spread at 5.5. The over-under at 53.5. Not necessarily sure that's that doesn't really seem right to me. I would probably lean the over. I would probably lean the over in this situation, but man, I really wanted to go to this game. This is lying. I don't know why it's saying it's low as $24. I don't think that's true. We'll see. Maybe I will end up going to this game after all. But I'm going to ride NC State here. I'm going to take them straight, but I would take them in 5.5. Here's another weird one. This is at a weird time. North Dakota State, this is their first time in FBS. This is a team that I think I've said this before, but it's kind of like too late for them to join. I mean, I guess it's never too late, but they should have been in FBS 10 years ago. Point blank and simple. Okay? And the overall point that people tried to make with North Dakota State is they weren't a marketed team in FBS, which I just completely disagree with. I just completely disagree with that. Look what App State did their first year. I believe they went 8-4. That's probably what North Dakota State's going to do. Okay? Tim Pulsick is in, I believe, year 2. North Dakota State almost made a run in the playoffs. I think they got upset by Villanova, if I remember correctly. They did get upset. I just don't remember who it's from. They lost their quarterback. We'll see how Nathan Hayes comes out this year, but I think just North Dakota State's just a much better team. The over-under is rather low, too. I know North Dakota State's expected to have a decent defense. Jacksonville State's a team I'm not very too sure about. You know, their first year with Rich Rod, they were really, really good. They haven't really lived up since then. I would probably lean North Dakota State in the 7 points. It might be 6.5. I'd like it at 6.5 more. And here's a game no one's talking about. This is a weird one out in Eastern Michigan. Eastern Michigan's a team that they're a tough one to understand. Their head coach has been there for, I think, 14 years. And he hasn't won the MAC. And it's Chris Creighton, I believe. Or he's been there 13 years, sorry. Hasn't really won the MAC. He was a coach at Drake, I think. He's just been consistently mid, to be honest with you, every single year. But I'll say this about Sacramento State. They've had a donor who did had a major role in this program, future. Somehow, some way, I believe it was last year, Sacramento State finished in the top 100, and they were an FCS school in total recruiting. Mind you, the average MAC team doesn't finish in the hundreds. And in the top 100. They just don't. Like Toledo, I think, the highest I think I've ever seen them was like 82 in total roster evaluation from recruiting. This game is at home. For Eastern Michigan. They're a 9.5 point favorite. There's no way I can lay 9.5. I mean, I don't think this team's going to beat anybody by 9.5 points. I'm not really high on Eastern Michigan. Sacramento State does bring back Carson Conklin. He's probably going to be the player of the day, in my opinion. I actually like Sacramento State outright. Carson Conklin played for them 2 years ago, led them to, I think they went 4-8, but he had a pretty solid season. I think he had almost 3,000 yards, 20-something TDs, had the interceptions, but the overall team wasn't that great. This team is probably more talented in Eastern Michigan. I like Sacramento State here and the points. I'm probably going to take them outright. Here's our last few games. Hawaii. We'll get this one out of the way. New Mexico State and Florida State. Florida State comes in as a 31.5 point favorite. I already bet this at 30.5. Point blank and simple. Ashton Daniels, I don't think he's going to be that spectacular, but New Mexico State's just an awful team. I like Florida State in the points, even the 31.5. You guys can have that extra point. I took it at 30.5, but I don't really care what the spread is. Mike Norvell always seems to blow these teams out. It's a week 0 game, too. He has experience in playing in week 0 games, and every time he's played in week 0, he's just kind of dominated the other team. But let's be real here, they haven't really played anybody good, and this is a team that is not good at all. So look out for Florida State going in the future. They could actually be relatively solid, but I like Florida State in the 31.5. That's just what Mike Norvell does. That doesn't mean Florida State's going to be an amazing team. They just always blow out these terrible teams. Hawaii on the road at Stanford. Timmy Chang, here we go. I think this is year 6 for him. Micah Alihado, star quarterback. I want to say wide receiver. They lost their star wide receivers, but the star quarterback for Hawaii, Cam Barfield, is back as well. They also have Devon Rice. So this team is going to be able to run the football. You look at Stanford coming in. They have a new head coach who, to be honest, I'm much higher than him than the average college football fan because Pritchard was in the NFL. But I just hate their quarterback. Davis Warren is just not a very good QB. Micah Alihado is clearly the better QB. You look at the offensive line, Stanford should be better, but Hawaii is a physically sound team. The Rainbow Warriors are going to be relatively solid this year. I called this upset last year. I think a lot of people did pick Hawaii. They're also jumping on the gun right now. 5.5 points is a lot to lay for a first-year head coach who has a team, and let's be honest with you, roster that might be the worst in the Power 4. I like Hawaii here. As much as I don't love it, I like it. I also don't love how the public has jumped on Hawaii in the points, but they all love, I think there was something like 62% of people picked Stanford money line. It's a weird, that's weird to me. But I mean, I guess I don't hate it. I'm going to take Hawaii outright here, but I'm going to take them for the 5.5 just in case. And lastly, the game of the day here, Memphis at UNLV. UNLV 5.5 point favorite. This is in Vegas. I believe this at it's at Alliant Field. These are two of the most talented teams in a group of 6. UNLV, Dan Mullen in year 2. This is going to be a really special year, I think, for UNLV. They bring in Jackson Arnold. And the funny thing about UNLV and Dan Mullen, last year they had Alex Orji and Calandria. This year they bring in Jackson Arnold. So they're kind of like the last chance U in terms of quarterbacks, it feels like. Because they've had 3 kind of last chance U's. And then look out as well, they got Troy Stellato, wide receiver from Clemson. They used to have Jeremy Flo, linebacker. I mean, like, this is they have Jake Pope. I mean, this is like the last chance U team in full weights. Their offensive line has some interesting factors here, but I do love Jaden Thomas, who's one of the best running backs, I think, in college football. He's going to have a huge season. I know he's a little undersized, but he has a lot of speed there. I love this UNLV team. I also do like Memphis. I think Charles Huff is an upgrade from Silverfield, believe it or not. But I'm going to ride my UNLV team. They are my playoff pick here for the group of 6. I think they're going to cover that 5.5. And yeah, guys, I picked all of these games here. Let me know what you guys think. It's a quick week of college football, but that being said, it's going to lead into some, I don't care. I'm happy to have college football, but leading into week 1, we have a lot of spread picks coming up. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.